Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Human Resources meeting. It's September 7th, 2023. The time is 10 a.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. Are there any changes to the agenda? I would probably just ask that item 7 be moved up prior to item 6. That way, when we go into executive session, there isn't a lot more to take care of. Okay. Any objection?
No.
Okay. Item 1, bonus payments request. This is for the treasurer's office. These are budgeted, and I believe they're probably budgeted every year. So a representative from treasurer's office on the phone? No?
Yes, Jill
Oh.
Smith. I'm appearing on Steve's behalf.
Okay. Hi, Jill.
Hi. So we are just requesting that the bonuses, the retention bonuses that we included in our fiscal year 23 budget can now be expended.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
All right. Motion?
I move that we approve the bonus payments request by the Treasurer's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Item 2, bonus payments request, Prosecuting Attorney's Office and Prosecutor Mortensen.
Stanley Mortensen for the record. As the board can see from the documents I've provided, from August 2022 to August 2023, my office has had a 40% turnover rate. What that's resulted in is my employees doing more than what one person should do. Extra cases, higher caseloads, extra court coverage, less time to handle other matters. And so basically what my staff have been doing is pulling the weight of 1.5 employees instead of one employee. We have budget savings of over $400,000. This is budget neutral. The bonuses would cost about $35,000, give or take. And so I'm asking the board to approve this.
Okay. Questions? Thoughts?
I think it's reasonable. The salary savings exceeds the bonus request. Is that correct?
Yes, it does. Again, the salary savings, I think, we're at $420,000 as of 2 days ago, and this request is, I calculated it to be $35,500. I think with some of the projections, I think it was pushing $42,000. I'm not sure how that works, but
We maybe loaded.
there we go.
Yep. So, Brandy, I just have a quick question for you. With the 420,000 savings, will that cover anything that we've already approved for contingency?
I don't understand.
So we've approved some witness payments. So would that end up covering it, or we'll still take that stuff out of contingency, even though he's got?
Taken out of contingency and put in his B budget. This
Okay.
is only a budget.
Sure.
Savings.
I know, but at the end of the year, usually we balance across ABC.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, contingency's already been moved into that.
Okay.
The only other thing I wanted to put on the record is, as the board can see in my request, the bonuses are incremental based on years of experience, and I am not asking for a bonus for myself.
Sure. Questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the bonus payment request by the prosecuting attorney.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 3, position conversion. Split one FTE into 2 part-time positions with our public defender's office. Ann?
Good morning. We currently have 5 grade 2 secretary positions allocated to our department. We have 3 of those positions filled. We've had a lot of trouble recruiting for those positions, and one of the ideas that we came up with was to split one full-time position into 2 part-time positions and see if maybe there are people that would be valuable people that would want a part-time job.
Okay. Questions?
I'm just curious, could we not advertise that position instead of just changing it and then finding out whether or not you would get response to that.
I think you've been advertising
Have
it
you?
for quite a while.
Oh, I thought
We-
you said
we've
to
had-
see if we could find out.
I'm just hoping that we might get some applicants that would be successful applicants if we advertise for part-time positions.
Yeah, but you haven't so far.
We haven't, but I have to have a position number.
Okay.
And I have to have the position split to receive a position number. I don't know of another way to do
Okay,
that.
fair enough. Yeah, I have no questions.
Okay. All right, motion?
I move that we approve the position conversion of splitting one full-time position into 2 part-time positions.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thanks, Ann. Item 4, temporary staffing, Resource Management Office. And Jody, are you on the line?
Yes, thank you. RMO is seeking a 6-month extension to the current temporary administrative assistant position currently ending 30 September 23. The funding source of the position is FTA $4,561, ARPA $36,489, and county funds $4,561. The county portion of $4,561 will be funded using salary savings from the vacant senior program manager position.
Okay, so essentially this one and the next one are just continuations of what we approved,
Yes.
I believe, back in March. And since we are not going ahead with what was requested for the FY24 budget, this is a continuation until we get that sorted out. And Jody and I have
Correct.
not had a chance to meet yet, but we will be doing that.
And this is on the temporary staffing.
Correct.
This is item 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's related to item 5 as far as these things happened at the same time this year. So, all right, questions?
We're using ARPA funds here?
Yes, partially.
I believe it's 90-10, ARPA versus county.
It's actually 10% FTA is the request, then 10% county, and then 80% ARPA.
But, yeah, I would be more comfortable if it stayed at the 90-10, which I believe is what it was at.
The challenge I have is that the person is currently working on a project that will be completed by the time this extension on the FTA, so I'm requesting that that person be able to complete that project. And it's grant funded, it's not any additional fund cost to the county.
Is this with historic preservation?
The county there is a historic preservation, and that county side then also would be the coroner's office. Those are 2 projects. And then the other is for FTA that I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. And then ARPA, obviously, the work that she's doing there as well.
So you wanted it 90% FTA?
Well, no, ARPA.
Oh,
90% ARPA.
I believe that the temp was requested back in February to be funded by ARPA largely. And no?
No.
Was it not 90-10 or?
Randy knows.
When the board approved it, it was approved at 90% ARPA, 10% FDA is what I believe. So the request now is to change it to 10% county, 80% ARPA, 10% FTA.
That is the request that I'm putting forward, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, this is a 6-month period of time, and it is no cost to the county.
The only issue I have is that we say yes based upon one set of circumstances, and then it changes. And, I don't want to say no to managers who are trying to get the job done, but I don't like saying yes to things based upon one set of assumptions that ultimately kind of creep into a different change a couple months later.
Well, and this
Right,
is...
and
Go ahead, Jody,
go ahead.
sorry.
I would say that my request is not scope creep, and it's not intended to be. It's intended to be able to perform the work that's required at this point in time, and it's not to say that I will look for other ways that there could be additional work. I'm just asking for the work that we're doing now to be able to do it well and to get it done. So that's my request as of this moment. It's not to create scope creep.
And even though the request is for 6 months, after Jody and I meet and we figure out what the board has tasked me to do, and that is get employees not spread out over 3 different funding sources, but try to limit them to each different funding source. So I don't see this needing to go 6 months, but I can't speak to the 10 versus
Well,
90 and
From a temporary perspective, I'm okay as far as this is being the final temporary request, and that we have a much more clearer picture of the future moving forward.
yes, and
And I would agree with that as well. I would agree that that would be great.
so what do you want to do?
Do you have any?
I just see this more of a sliding things around. I don't like it.
Again, I'm asking respectfully to the board that I honestly am telling you the work that needs to be done. I'm not looking for scope creep. I'm not trying to slide a dish into one place or to another. I'm saying that this is the request. It's based on need, and I'm respectfully asking that you consider it.
Well, I'll certainly consider it for up to 6 months on this particular item.
Okay.
I move that we approve the temporary staffing request for 6 months with resource management.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
No.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 5, higher duty pay request. And again, this is just a continuation because the request has not been approved for FY24. And this again will be resolved when we separate the duties and the funding sources. So Jody, do you have anything else to add to that?
It's a FY24 budget neutral request. So that would be the only thing I would add.
The only question I have with this one is the fact that the trigger for this series of events was that we had one person who went from full-time to contract, and the numerical change in workload was from 100% to 70%, with 30% spread out across the remaining staff, and then we brought on a temp full-time to help with that workload. And so at that time, because there was so much change going on and we kind of had to figure out where the dust was going to settle, if you will, I was open to the idea of this higher duty pay. But it seems like to give higher duty pay and have a full-time person, it doesn't make sense to me. And
Well, it's two different it's two different requests. So that temp request is separate and apart from this. This is the job descriptions they're doing now. The board approved for us to have the job descriptions submitted to HR. HR approved them, and then we went in with our fiscal 24. This is the work they're doing. So I would, again, respectfully request that higher duty be paid to these individuals who are performing the work. And at the time that if you and I guess it would be Leslie and I have that conversation, we certainly can address this again at such time as we've concluded those discussions.
well, I understand, but I seem to recall the temp being part of the request because of the change of status between a full-time employee moving to contract.
I think that I'll have to go back to those notes. I don't have those in front of me, but I would say that at this point in time, it's a separate request. They're not commingled.
Well, perhaps the board, anyone up here can recall that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill's shaking his head no. Yes, so this is the way I'm looking at this, because we have just approved this week the new grant process, I think that will play into the conversation about who is doing what and the different funding sources across the way. So I'm neutral as far as, we just haven't had a chance to get into it.
I mean, we've done a lot of things since this was originally requested. I mean, we've implemented an annual step increase. We've done a lot of different things. And again, this kind of goes back to that very first conversation of, this one employee going from full-time to contract and how it requires all these adjustments, this huge ripple effect, not a small, but a huge. And so, I just see that as being something that, either these high performers accept the additional responsibility, in which case the higher duty pay would make 100% sense, or we add staff to help relieve the workload, and that workload is spread across more people, in which case the higher duty pay wouldn't seem to make as much sense.
So I would offer that Jody and I meet and get some of this stuff straightened out and be able to return this request if we can get it done by September 21st or the first week of October, if those things have not worked themselves out by the time we have separated the different funding sources.
I'm open to that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Jody, you and I have a meeting tomorrow this afternoon. Sorry. So maybe we can hang out afterwards and start this process.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so no action to be taken on that one. And item 7, which is the approval of FY24 salary increases and our HR department.
Sylvia Proud for the record. I first wanted to start off with a special thank you to the Board of County Commissioners for making employees our #1 priority and implementing the step increases and the fixes. I think that's critical. It'll help with retention, and kudos to the 3 of you to make that happen for us as well. This has been quite the process in getting this to this point and the budget approved, and I wanted to extend a special thank you to Dorothy Cross. She has worked on this endlessly, tirelessly on making this happen. And also the team, it was a team effort between the clerk's office, IT, and HR, and the commissioners, of course. So thank you to everyone, but Dorothy, even to this very last minute, within hours, was like, okay, let's make sure everything's where it needs to be. And I really appreciate the time she took to make this happen for us as well.
Okay.
So next, what I'm requesting is the board's approval of what the spreadsheet shows is each employee and what their increase with the COLA is, and if they had any step fixes. This is scheduled to go into effect September 24th, 2023. And so that's what this covers. The step increases that happen on the step anniversary date are not on this list. Either are reclassifications. The reclassifications will be brought forward to the board at the next HR meeting of September 21st with an effective date of October 8th. And then the step anniversary would probably fall on a consent calendar, the way we
PAF
show
report.
any, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm requesting the board to approve the employee increases by individual.
Okay. Questions?
No questions. Thank you.
No questions.
All right, motion?
I move that we approve the FY24 salary increases for HR, Human Resources.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari. Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And item 6, separation with release agreement and an executive session. So is there a motion?
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061B.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Exit executive session, 1B, with staff to proceed as discussed.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Public comment, hearing none, 11:09, meeting adjourned. And in 3 minutes, we will, well, you have to switch. Oh, you're not going to record it.